underdog. I'm pretty sure you maybe saw DeAndre a couple times. Just curious what you think of him, the player, and what you maybe hope he can bring to the backfield along with Carryon and the other backs that you have, and just how good it is to have another Georgia guy back there.
It's great. Obviously, I did get a chance to watch him quite a bit in college. I feel like everybody did. Georgia's been on national TV a bunch recently, and he's played really well in some big-time games. As far as a player goes, he's a back that can kind of do it all. I'd like to see, I think he does a good job out of the backfield, catching the ball and making big plays. They handed it to him a bunch, and he was doing a great job running with it. I think as far as adding another guy to the backfield, I think it's huge. In the NFL, running backs, everybody, but running backs get, dinged up, beat up here and there throughout a season and really throughout games. So the more guys you can have back there that can carry the rock and do a good job for you, the better off you're going to be.
Okay, Larry Lage.
Damn it.
Larry, you're muted there. Sorry.
All right. Matthew, I thought you were going to rock my look during the pandemic, but you went the other way.
I'm trying to figure out how to see everybody, guys.
Well, you don't have to. Talk to us about who you've been throwing with. It's made the rounds a little bit on social media, where you've done that, and how you've kind of kept it safe as best you can.
Yeah, before all this kind of hit, or right as it was starting to really turn into what it is now. I was in California, and I was able to throw with Kenny and Danny a few times out there. And then Danny came down to Atlanta. I'm in Atlanta now. He came down to Atlanta for 4 or 5 days. We got some work in, which was great. And then recently I've thrown with, some of our newer draft picks, obviously Swift and Cephas. And then Isaac Nada's in town as well. So I've gotten some work with those guys. Just trying to make sure that, we're limiting the amount of people that are there. Obviously, it's only, the guy throwing and the guys catching. But it's trying to do that, trying to make sure. I mean, I'm honestly making conscious efforts, trying not to lick my fingers, before I get the ball or throw it. All those kind of things are things that I would have never thought I would have had to think about, but at the moment am, and making sure that we just try to, just limit our contact. Some of the times out in California, we'd be throwing and be done, and everybody would just kind of click cleats at the end, say, appreciate you running, appreciate you throwing, and move on. So doing everything we can to try and stay safe. Obviously, I have, 3 little ones and a pregnant wife at home, so it's at the forefront of my mind to make sure that I'm staying safe.
Kyle, Mikey.
Matthew, good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too.
I got 2 for you. Just a quick one on the back. You're doing the workouts. There's a lot of wonder out there with fans about how the back is doing. Is that healthy? How you feeling on that front?
I feel great. It's healthy, healed up. I'm moving around as good as this slow dude can move around.
Fair enough. Secondly, what's your quarantine been like? I know you're in Atlanta now with the kids and the wife, but what's that been like for you? Put that in perspective if you can for us.
Yeah, we've moved around a little bit. We started in California, and then kind of before everything went full lockdown, we actually shot to Florida for a little bit. Kelly's parents have a beach house on the Gulf side of Florida, and so we were down there for 2 weeks with kids and in-laws and all of that. So that was a blast. A lot of work, kids at the beach. Mine are only 3 and almost 2. So you're just worried, trying to keep them alive, make sure they don't, go into the water, by themselves and all that. But I did that, and then came back to Atlanta since then. I don't even know how long it's been, to be honest with you. And it's been good. I got to hand it to Kelly. I mean, this is, 3 little kids running around and she's carrying a 4th. It's pretty impressive that she's got the energy and the stamina that she does. I mean, I'm trying to help out as much as I can. It's as much dad time as I've ever had. It's been awesome. But it's difficult. It's difficult on everybody. And especially with her situation, being pregnant and really just, it's the right thing to do. We haven't been out, we don't go out. We don't go to the grocery store. We do try to make sure we get all that delivered if we possibly can and limit our contact with other people. So we've just been trying to stay really safe and keep the kids busy as any way we possibly can.
Thank you.
Mike Rothstein.
Hey, Matthew, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
All right. So there was some talk in February and March, and it got debunked about you possibly being on the trade block. When you hear those things, how do you react to that? How do you handle it? Kelly posted about it at one point on social media. Like, how do you handle those things, whether they're true or not?
I really don't pay too much attention to them. I pay less attention to them than my wife does. But it's something that doesn't bother me. Listen, I'm here. I want to be here. I love being a Detroit Lion. I love leading this team. So, all that kind of stuff is just out there to be out there. It's a slow news month at that point, and I'm just happy to be where I am and ready to, deal with this offseason the way it is and try to make the best of the season that I hope happens.
Brad Galley.
Hey, Matthew, thanks for doing this, man. Hope you guys are trying to have a little bit of fun in the middle of all this. I'm curious. We all want to get back to work. For you especially, you'll answer questions like you have today about your back until we see you on the field, until we see you in a game. How much has the lack of any on-field presence with all of your team kind of hindered at least your belief that you can do what you can believe you're fine, and it's really just everybody else having to see that as well?
You're kind of cutting out a little bit in there, but as far as the way I feel about my body, I feel great. I'm not worried about going out there and playing. If we could put the pads on today and go play, I would do it. I understand what you were saying about other people needing to see that. I think my teammates know. The guys that have been with me see me throw it around. I'm as good as I've been, the last couple of years physically and feel fine. But with anything, every time we go play football, there's a risk, especially when you put your pads on and go hit. So, but I'm excited. I'm hoping that, everything goes as safe and as smooth as it can this offseason. And we're allowed back in at some point as long as that's safe. I mean, it's a tough situation. Everybody knows to make the call on when and where and how we do this thing. But I'm hoping we get to get it going because I put a lot of work in to be where I am, and I know other guys on our team are doing the same.
Okay, let's go Dave Burkett. Looks like Dave might be having some issues. Mike Stone.
Yeah, how you doing, Matthew? Two things. Did they ever tell you, like, before the draft, don't worry about all the idiots on talk radio that say they should draft Tua? We're not drafting Tua, just even sit and you're fine and all that. And the other question I have is, guys like Slay and Snacks left, and Slay had some things said about Patricia, but he did admit that Matt Patricia was much better involved in the team in 2019 than he was in 2018. Did you see a difference in him from year one to year two, the way he involved with you, and has he learned a little bit to become a better coach in the locker room?
As far as the draft stuff, I'm always in contact, probably annoyingly so, with some of those guys. I'm just as big a fan of college football guys as you guys are, so I'm just trying to get takes on who does what well, and that's at every position. But as far as the quarterback stuff, I'll keep all those comments and those conversations that I have with those guys private, but it's nothing to really read into, to be honest with you. And secondly, as far as Coach Patricia goes, listen, I understand the last 2 years have been tough. We haven't won as many games as we wanted to. It's been tough for me personally. Been beat up a little bit and didn't get to play as many football games as I wanted to. And I know those guys, Slay and Snacks, that left. I got a lot of respect for those guys. They're both, very good football players and were great members of our team. But they're going to say what they're going to say. I'm not worried about them. I'm worried about what we got going on now and trying to make the best of this season. I think Coach Patricia, as everybody has learned, I think learned about himself, learned about our team, learned about how, he wants to be as a head coach, all those things. And he's done a great job. I think steps from year one to year two, probably like rookie year to second year as a player, are some of the biggest leaps you can make. And I thought he did a great job last year. It didn't reflect so much in our record, but I thought he did a great job.
Following up on that, do you feel more confident with Bev going into his second year with you?
Yeah, I think last year was a big offseason for me. It was a tough one. Obviously, right as we were starting to do all the OTAs and everything last season where we're going to install, offense and all that, Kelly's going through brain surgery, and I'm trying to navigate that, and learn the offense as best I could. I put a lot of time and effort into that, but at the same time, it's not the same as being there in the meetings and all that. So I felt like I had a really good grasp on this offense in the first year, and I'm hoping to build on that. I think we've got a lot of really good players, on our side of the ball that want to be a great offense, and that's the first step to it is make sure that everybody's on the same page, pulling in the same direction. I think we've got that, and hopefully we can grow and continue to get better in year 2.
Okay, Dave's back. We'll go with Burkett and then Jen Hammond.
Sorry about that, internet issues, but good to see you, Matthew. So 2 real quick things. Just wanted to follow up on Rothstein's question. When all those trade rumors came about, can you just share like what your conversations were like with Bob, or how you, I don't know, but put that to the side, I guess, and just got back to football?
I mean, I had conversations with him and Coach Patricia. I'm not going to divulge to you guys what we talked about and how all that went because I think that's private information. But it was in, it was something like that for me. I mean, I'm moving on. I was ready to prepare and be the best quarterback I can be for this team for a long time. So something that didn't bother me, I don't know. I mean, I was probably a whole lot more to you guys and the fans out there than it was to me.
Okay. No, I just want to make sure there was no anger. There was nothing that,
Oh, no.
Okay. And then number 2, and sorry since I conked out there for a minute, but given what's going on in the world and Kelly being pregnant, just on a personal level, like, how has this been for you? What are you worried about when it comes to that aspect of your life as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think, I think it's in everybody's interest to be as safe as you can possibly be, no matter if you got a pregnant wife and kids at home or not. But obviously, nobody really knows. There's not hard data on this yet on what it does to a pregnant woman or a baby or whatever it is. So we're just trying to make sure that we're doing everything we possibly can to limit our exposure and make sure that we are at home doing everything that the experts are telling us to do as much as we possibly can while trying to stay sane and still have a little bit of fun here and there.
Okay, Jen Hammond.
Hey, Matthew. Glad to see that you guys are in here, that you guys are doing well. I'm just curious to know what kind of advantage it may provide you as a veteran quarterback and as in the, already established in Bevel's system, with the fact that you guys don't know when you may be able to get back to the building, back to the facility, and working and practicing together. If there's a significant edge that you think you have as a team, as an offense, because of your experience in this system and with this group?
I think it doesn't hurt. It doesn't hurt to be in the second year of an offense and not trying to learn something new or not trying to be a rookie, quarterback or a second-year guy coming in. So that definitely, I feel like, is a positive for us as a team and for myself. I'm going to try and share as much knowledge as I possibly can with all the young guys coming in about our offense, about what to expect with NFL football, those kind of things. And when I get out there and throw with those guys and when I get chances to work with them, I feel like I can, teach them as good as our coaches can on what we're looking for and what they need to do. So that's an advantage for us. I'm hoping that shows up on Sundays. I think it's something we can talk about right now. And then we got to go out there and make sure that it counts on Sundays.
Well, could I just a little follow up? If it comes to be that you guys have to play without fans, I guess I'd just like your take, your impression on how strange that might be, how willing you are just to get out there at any cost so that fans can enjoy watching the NFL again, obviously with safety protocols in place.
Yeah, I mean, it would be an adjustment for everybody. There's no question. I really, I'm quarterback. Quiet's great. I love that. I can talk. I can hear what they're saying on defense. I can probably try to use that to my advantage. It's like playing a home game everywhere you go. I'm fine with that. But for those guys that are really running around all day, I feel like receivers, defensive backs, linebackers, running backs, I mean, those guys feed so much off of adrenaline from the crowd. You don't have time. You don't have the awareness to think about, oh, I'm tired here. I'm dragging a little bit here or there. You don't have time to be, or the ability to focus, to be in your thoughts on that. And without the fans, I think, maybe that would be a different challenge for those guys. When Danny was in town, we were talking about it, and he was like, God, I mean, maybe they need to play music or something just to get you. It's like going for a long run with no music or whatever it is. I mean, it's just different, and something that those guys have become so accustomed to, feeding off that energy, but being involved with the game. I love it, and I'm hoping it is safe enough for all of us to get back out there. I don't want to put people at undue risk, for us to go play a game, but at the same time, if we can find a way to make it safe for everybody, I'd love to, obviously be out there as soon as we can.
Chris Burke.
Hey, Matthew, thanks for doing this. Just a quick follow-up there, I guess, to what you were saying, and then I had another question. Do you have any thought in your mind of how much time you might need to get ready once everyone gets back? If there isn't no OTAs, if camp gets shortened, like, do you have a timeline where you need, I need 6 weeks to feel comfortable for week 1?
I don't have one in my head. I don't think they're going to ask me. I think they're going to pick a schedule and go, hey, here's when you get to be back, and here's when we're starting. So saddle up. And that's fine. That's fine with me. If they told us we had to start the season tomorrow and you had to fly to Detroit and go put the pads on, I'd be thrilled and happy to go do it. So just any opportunity at any time, with it being safe, I'm ready to go.
And then just quickly going back to kind of the continuity discussion, you talked about Bevel a little bit, but you also have Sean Ryan coming back. He's a name that's been tossed out as maybe an offensive coordinator candidate a couple times, and Chase Daniel coming in, who's a veteran. I'm just wondering what your thoughts are on what that room's going to be like this year, and how much it'll help to have Sean there again.
I think it's going to be great. Sean's a really smart guy. He's been around a lot of good quarterbacks and knows a lot of football, and there's no question, or no surprise on my part that he's getting, talked about in that regard. He's great to have in the room. He helps keep all of us prepared and does a great job of communicating with Bev as well. Chase is a guy that's been in the league for a long time. He's seen a lot of football. He's been around a lot of really good quarterbacks as well. So we're happy to have him. And then Blau coming back is obviously a young kid developing that I think is, has a lot of potential. I think he's a smart guy, understands the game, was thrown into a really tough situation last year, and I thought performed admirably. So, I know he has a lot to learn from last year. He's got a lot of tape and a lot of experience that he can get better on as well. So it's 3 Dallas kids from about 10 miles away from each other. So everybody else is going to have a hell of a time listening to our freaking high school football stories, but it'll be fun.
All right, we'll go 3 more with Wojo, Ken Brown, and then Tori to finish off.
Matthew, good to see you. Glad you're doing well.
You too. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Was there, with all you've been through the last couple of years, 2 seasons ending with the back injury, and then Kelly's situation in the offseason and having a few kids and everything else, did you ever reach a point where you thought, and then the trade rumors, whatever they were, did you ever reach a point where you thought you would not be the Lions quarterback this coming season?
Not really. I just prepare. I'm kind of, boring in that aspect that I just kind of prepare to be here and to do my job at a higher level than I did it the year before. No question, were there frustrating times and times that were tough? Absolutely. Playing through what I played through 2 years ago was not fun, and last year, having the season end early for me was really tough. It had been a long time since that had happened where I wasn't allowed, wasn't able to go out there and play. That was tough. And to be able to, work all off season last year to get back and feel great and be playing at a pretty good clip and then have it taken from you is tough and makes you, realize just how much you love playing the game. So that's all the on-field stuff. All the off-the-field stuff is life. Everybody's got those issues. Obviously just happy that everybody came out healthy and is better for it on this end. But I don't want to pretend to be the only person that's dealing with something off the field or away from their job, because we all are in some way or another. So that's part of it. But the on-the-field stuff is tough. And I'm just hoping that I get the opportunity to get back out there and play this year.
Ken Brown.
Hey, Matthew, how you doing?
I'm good, man.
Being one of the league's senior citizens now, I just want to know, and the clock's ticking on your career. I mean, I'm not saying it's ending tomorrow, but it's ticking. Do you feel that you have to make more demands with the players and the organization to get where you need to go if you're going to be here?
I mean, I think it all boils down to winning, and I'm willing to do whatever it is to help us win. And you know, there's no question that you know, I'm going into year 12. It's crazy to say. You know, it's I don't think I'm playing for 25, so I would say that at least the halfway point we're there. So I definitely I want to win. That's the biggest thing for me. And as far as being demanding, I'm going to be myself. I feel like I'm a demanding person and quarterback. Those guys know what to expect, you know, from me, and I know what I, you know, need to have out of them for us to be a successful team. So we got to do that on a more consistent basis, you know, as a team.
The challenges.
Yeah, it's challenging. There's no question. You know, to coordinate 100 different schedules and make sure everybody's on the same page and you know, able to get Wi-Fi service and all that kind of stuff is challenging. I think our team and our organization has done a great job with that. We've had outstanding participation, and guys have really been dialed in, which is great. You know, I think you know, advantages wise, I don't know. I don't know if there's too many. I'd rather be in person. I'd rather be in Detroit. You know, if we could be, you know, talking about this stuff and then going out and working on it. The biggest thing, you know, biggest difference right now is we're all talking about it, and then, you know, we hang up the Zoom call and I go chase 3 kids, and, you know, Danny goes and does yoga in his underwear or whatever, and Kenny's catching balls from a jug. I don't know what these guys are doing, but we're not working on the same stuff at the same time. So, you know, it's a little bit challenging in that aspect, but I'm just trying to be available for guys as much as I possibly can. You know, to make sure that they know that I'm there, and if they've got questions or comments, they can bounce them off me as well as their coaches. So it's interesting. It's a challenge. I'm sure you guys are going through it in y'all's you know, in y'all's business as well. Getting on these is quite a bit different than being in person, but you know, we're all figuring out a way to make it work, and you know, that's part of what this whole time is kind of has done is challenge people in that way, and I feel like people are responding in a pretty good way.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Matthew.
I forgot to tell you guys this before I signed off last, but I can't believe you guys fell for the math trick. TJ and I have been doing that for years. He texted me the answer beforehand, and I just read it off and sell it hard. I mean, I guess I deserve a daytime Emmy, but for sure not a math award. So that one's on you guys. Do your homework. If I'm here for 11 years, the math is going to come out before then, and obviously it didn't. So I'm going to say that one's on you guys, but it was fun while it lasted. All right, man, I got to get a workout in. Y'all have a good one.